Stalker 2 is finally out. The review embargo lifted today, and by the time this video releases, many of you may have already started playing the game. As far as the initial release goes, it's doing pretty well. There's 25,500 players in the game when it released, which of course, it's the middle of a Wednesday here, at least Eastern Standard Time in the US, where a lot of folks are at work. There's 317,000 viewers on Twitch, and it is in the #1 top sellers on Steam. Now, of course, this is a Game Pass release, and that is going to influence numbers, but as far as we could tell, at least early on, it's doing pretty well. And as for the reception of the game, pretty positive, mostly. Critics have highlighted the tactical and methodical gameplay, the world, the progression. They were mixed on story content, such as the quests and the side quests. It was noted that the way quests kind of evolve in the game are sort of the princesses in another castle style, where you'll come across young Jimmy who needs help getting an item that he dropped behind in a ruin a little bit away. You go to that ruin and find two people fighting over the item, kill one, help the other, who then tells you, hey, I was trying to get this item because my grandma needs it and she's about 3 kilometers in that direction. Go off to help grandma and realize she's being attacked by bandits because she's not as innocent as you might think she is. And by the time you get to the end of it, you don't even realize why you were helping Jimmy in the first place. Who's Jimmy? Exactly the point. No, that's not an exact quest that you'll find in Stalker, but just generally diving deeper and deeper into that rabbit hole system not everybody is exactly fond of. Then, of course, the biggest thing that is holding the games back is going to be the bugs and the performance. Once again, bringing into question, should we be supporting these games if they are going to release broken and seemingly unfinished? Now, most critics, I will say, and give my credit to, acknowledge the fact that the conditions this game was developed under was completely extreme. Yes, while the game probably should have been delayed several more months, I do want to also acknowledge, and I praise the critics who did acknowledge that it's completely unheard of circumstances, and quite frankly, a miracle this game got released at all. Many reviewers also had limited time with the game. I saw some of them as low as 10 hours of gameplay, which really doesn't feel long enough to give a fair assessment or analysis of the game when it's 40 to 100 hours depending on your playstyle. But of course, you need to get those reviews live before the embargo, so you're going to see a lot of stuff like that, which is why I encourage you to take a look at many different reviews, not just one. Or, you know, it's always fair to play the game yourself and then decide. In regards to performance, this is the biggest area that caused contention.
Areas. For example, sitting down to watch stalkers tell horrible jokes, you're only slightly understanding because of stalkers' consistently noticeable language barrier. Another stalker will shuffle over, only to fart and then wait 45 seconds until he loudly says, "You guys are hilarious, let me tell a joke," though nobody's talking, not realizing that it's been 2 minutes of silence. Stalkers in town frequently shift and move and play musical cardboard, sitting in one place, then getting up, walking around, turning around, then sitting right back in the new place. It's like they're all suffering from anomaly-caused concussions.
Poor AI, where it's constantly getting caught on objects or simply not moving at all, awkward and inconsistent audio issues, performance bugs galore, some of which only fixable, it's been reported, by closing out the game and even shutting off your PC entirely. Multiple reviews I saw mentioned how it sort of bricked their keyboards or even their controllers, and that wasn't fixed until they restarted their entire PC. Some people had to reinstall the entire 150 gigabyte game, quests not being finishable. The list goes on and on. And that's not even mentioning some of the visual bugs that might have occurred. A lot of these reviews were done before some of the immediate patches were released, and the retail version that we're all going to play, hopefully a lot cleaner. I read somewhere that one of these patches had over 1,100 fixes to the game that some reviewers might not have experienced. But based on the type of issues that gamers and critics were having, we can't expect a fully polished experience even with the retail release of the game. Now, there's already been 3 patches that have come out since the preload went live, the latest one being 36 gigabytes, the one before that over 100, and as it goes in game development, they are probably working on patches 4 and 5, making sure that these are clean and ready for a public release. And positively speaking, the team at GSC Game World has responded both to the release of the game and to the performance in an open letter to fans. It will be linked in the description below if you want to check that out, but it initially starts out saying how they're really proud of the game, getting it released. Again, quite frankly, impressive that this game came out at all. They specifically mentioned, quote, "This is a project of endless love and passion from the entire team. We genuinely believe that this is felt throughout. You'll feel it in the handcrafted world. You'll feel it in the laboratory and in the poppy fields, or during the first emission or intense battle with a bloodsucker, or the stylish reload of your new gun, or seeing Pripyat under the moonlight." There's so many things in this that we are incredibly proud of. They then go on to acknowledge the release date, saying, quote, "Nevertheless, Stalker 2 is a massive game. We understand that in such a game, there may still be rough edges. We literally have not released anything of this scale before. We're absolutely committed to being here, monitoring your feedback, and quickly fixing any issues that need our attention. In the first days after release, we'll be working with hotfixes, rolling them out as precisely as possible, but as frequently as we can. Then we'll switch to a larger update that include constant improvements. There will also be free in-game content. We will share a roadmap later in December. We have big plans for the Stalker universe. In a way, today is both a return and the beginning of a grand new journey." Stalker 2 have been released a little bit longer, especially for the review version to be more polished. Probably, I understand why people would say so. However, the release date of the game does seem to highlight the divide between new and existing Stalker fans. On the one hand, people who have played the original games are used to some of the jank. I don't think anybody can walk away from an experience positively when you need to reinstall the game multiple times in order to just play, or when you have a quest you can't fully complete. But based on what I've been seeing, especially online, as evident by some of the comments on Skill Up's review, who did not recommend the game, people were leaving comments such as, "A Stalker game broken on release? We're so back," has 685 upvotes, to the surprise of absolutely no Stalker fans, another one having 257 upvotes. So again, people who have played those past games are ready to wait for patches, or ready to just bide their time for more polish to come out, or even mods to help polish this game further and even improve some of the gameplay elements, or just tweak them a little bit to be more in line with what fans might expect or be hoping for, or just like Bethesda mods, make the game overall better. As for the roadmap coming later in December, we know that there's a multiplayer mode that is going to be introduced to Stalker, whether this will just be sort of a competitive shooting arena type mode, or something that I would love to see, which is actually more of a DayZ style approach to an open world, and you and a bunch of other people can go out and explore the zone. That remains to be seen. I am also hoping that we do get to see some new weapons and some small new quests, ideally taking inspiration from the way that CD Projekt Red historically has done some free in-game updates. That would be absolutely awesome. And of course, mods are going to come both to PC and console for Stalker 2, which should leave a lot to be excited for, especially because, again, this game does seem to have a pretty strong start. And I only imagine as more patches do roll out, as people who want to wait the, maybe 4 to 6 months for this game to continue to get gameplay improvements, as those folks start hopping in, I sense that we will have a pretty strong community, especially from the original Stalker fans, surrounding this title. Although, of course, some of that does remain to be seen. Let me know if you're excited to hop into the zone. I myself cannot wait. Be sure to check out any other videos on the channel for games like Indiana Jones that I'm covering, and of course, other RPGs as well. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this small update, and I hope to see you all next time. So long, everybody.